In any relationship, dose is one of the more important variables. Drink a little bit of water and we're hydrated. Drink a lot of water and we drown. A little bit of salt, we're nourished. Too much salt can kill us. Every relationship with every other pattern of energy is dose dependent. There is an amount that is too little and there is an amount that is too much. Some things are enough to think about and learn from. Other things we need to experience. And the same is true with Lazaris. The dose or toxicity level, like where does Lazaris have the possibility or the probability of moving from a net positive to a net negative to becoming a toxic relationship, also has to do with dose, right? That's one of the key variables. So one possibility for that, one probability, is just the vastness of the material. One could literally spend one's entire life going from one tape to the next tape, to the next tape, to the next tape. And there will still not be an ideal life, right? In my experience, whether it's watching other people around the Lazaris community or living it myself, at any given point, I'm 500% to 1,000% away from the ideal, right? Where I'd like to be and where I am is there's a gap, right? Lazaris calls that gap pain, what we long for and are separate from. That gap is also motivation. It's also vision. And it's also pain. It's also frustration, how to bridge the gap, right? But for evolution to continue, we never want to arrive. Right? To arrive is to die. To say, it's finished, right? I am already the most amazing person I can possibly be. Nothing more to do, nothing more to think, nothing more to explore. I'm just there. I'll just sit here, right? That's death. Another word for Christian heaven, right? Just sit around listening to music for all eternity. It's death, right? So the body of material is high. The other kind of area of toxicity is, or indigestion, is the cerebral nature of it. Right? There's so much language. And of course, language cuts the one into pieces. Language constructs thought out of pieces of the whole that are first cut into pieces by the words themselves. When you are in all that is in an unconscious state, you start dividing that. Well, you start cutting the world into pieces that are illusions, right? Because the world in reality isn't pieces. It's an ecology, an interconnected ecology. But we can easily get lost in the words, the negative ego versus the positive ego, the lower self and the higher self, the more and the lesser. Right? These are all distinctions of one ecology. Oh, was that the negative ego there, right? Or this. So combined with a general message. You can have it all with little or no effort at all, right? It's easier to succeed than it is to fail, right? You create your own reality, right? This all leads you inward. So it's you and Lazaris, right? If you don't have world peace, if you don't have your money situation, your relationship situation working well, maybe you had payoffs. Maybe you didn't break your dark law well enough. So it can go round and round in shame. Also, that's another very common area of toxicity. If you do a survey amongst Lazaris friends, you will find a rather high percentage are carrying metaphysical shame that is created with the idea that I'm creating it all, and the chronic gap between it all and the statement, you can have it all, and that gap, right? That gap is there. And so, these are all pitfalls. You can become very self-referential. You can become very Lazaris-centric and Lazaris-referential. And I think it's also in that state of frustration, in that state of shame, in that state of pain, very easy to lose the forest for the trees, of which there are an almost endless amount, or to get lost in one's head and lose the somatic aspects of the body, which are, I would say, the weak point of the Lazaris protocol. It's unusual, other than falling asleep, to see people in a deep somatic experience at a Lazaris event. That's troubling when we have a traumatized culture and when somatic work is the most effective work for dealing with trauma, when we're dealing with body memories and body sensations and we're trying to deal with them with our mind. Now, is it possible to have, a transcendent experience of deep healing? I'm sure it is, but is it probable? Meaning, if you survey 100 Lazaris friends and who've gone to 100 events, each seeking, that deeper, more profound shift or change, how many people have had that? How long has it lasted? How often have they had that experience? Right? Versus, for example, something like holotropic breath work or microdosing or a deep psychedelic experience, which takes one into body memories. Right? And again, it's just none of it's perfect, and it can all be toxic at high level doses. But the place that I've come to around all of this is that at Lazaris's best, which is often, I think, in meditations or blendings, or on, on some of the tapes, there's a very beautiful energy. There's a very nurturing energy, that is expansive, that brings a sense of hope, a sense of well-being, a sense of connection with self. And that energy, in small doses, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, 15 minutes there, that's medicinal, right? That's a low-level dose of a relatively high resonance. And in that dose, right, in that frequency, Lazaris is a very nourishing and uplifting part of my life.